Hi everyone, my name is Kartik and my channel is about mental models. Welcome to my second video in the cognitive bias mini-series. In this video I will be talking about the anchoring cognitive bias. The anchoring bias is where we rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive when making decisions. As a result, the piece of information becomes a reference point, i.e. an anchor that influences our perception of the subsequent information. So if we have pieces of information that we receive, we rely too heavily on the first one, using it as a reference, and this essentially becomes our anchor. Taking decisions or making educated guesses with little factual knowledge to go on is actually quite difficult, and this bias can skew our response further. And sometimes we do that without even noticing that there is an anchor. Let's look at a few examples. Let's say you want to buy a small second-hand car. And you go to a dealer, and the first dealership that you go to, the price is £1,600. So that's the first dealer. Then if you go on to a second dealer and you see the same make, model, year of car at this second dealer for say £1,300, you may think that this is a bargain. So that's the perception. You may think that this is a bargain, and then you may go and make the decision of actually going to buy the car. Even though, actually, if you'd gone a bit further down and researched even more, you might have found a third dealer or even a fourth dealer, but let's just say for this example, for the purposes of this example, there was a third dealer who actually sold the car for £500. So you would have based your decision here based on the first piece of information, which is the £1,600 from the first dealer. And even though you felt that you're getting a bargain, you are, compared to this amount, overspending. And so with anchoring bias, the initial price will influence your perception of its value. If you'd seen this car first, this car would look so much more expensive. That's example one. Let's look at example two. Let's take a maths equation, and you have to do this very quickly in your head. So what is 7 over 17 times 500? Stop. Time's up. Now let's do another one. What is 14 over 34 times 500? Again, Time's up. Stop. Admittedly, I haven't given you much time to do these, but generally when I ask people to do this exercise, the answer I get for the first equation is a lot lower than what I get for the second one. So in the first one I get answers of 75, 85, 105, and the answers that I get for this one are sort of a lot higher, around sort of 175, 200, 225. And this is because the numbers, basically these ones, these numbers, are smaller for the first equation than they are for the second one, and so the perception is that the answer here is going to be smaller than this one. In fact, it doesn't really matter what the answer is. The point I'm trying to make is that this is going to be smaller because of these numbers, and these numbers are comparatively going to be larger. The answer is going to be comparatively larger because of these numbers. In actual fact, both of these equations are exactly the same. 7/17 of 500 is exactly the same as 14/34 of 500. They give you the exact same result. Now, in these two examples, the amounts and numbers are connected to the decision or the result. The £1,600, £1,300, the 7/17, the 14/34, they're all connected to that scenario. But this bias also takes effect when the numbers are arbitrary. So moving on to sort of example 3. I'm going to give you a question. What are the last 2 digits of your NI number? So you've got person 1 and you've got person 2. What are the last 2 digits of your NI number? That's the first question. And then question 2, how many people died in major plane accidents in 2018? So this is my plane. Here's the cockpit. How many people died in 2018? Now, the first question has got nothing to do with the second one, but there has been some experimentation on this. And let's say the first person's NI number, the last 2 digits of the NI number was 09. And for person 2, it was 68. Just making these 2 numbers up. When they've answered that, they use these numbers as an anchor to answer the second question. And so comparatively, someone who has a higher 2 digits, so 68, would say a higher number compared to someone that has a lower 2 digits. They may say something like 45. And on average, there are some exceptions, but on average, the individual with the higher 2 digits will give you a higher number of deaths in plane accidents compared to the one with the lower 2 digits. And that is because they are, as I say, using this arbitrary number that's got nothing to do with plane deaths. They're using this arbitrary number as an anchor. Now, so why is this important? This is actually very important because when it comes to financial decision making, so sort of like back to this car, you don't want an anchoring bias to skew your choice either knowingly or unknowingly. And the thing is that this can be used against you. So let's say you're going to buy a camera. You're going to purchase a camera. The shopkeeper in their shop or their online listings may present the most expensive ones first in the listings or first at the front of their shop. And this would be an attempt to set a high anchoring baseline. So when you are subsequently presented with a cheaper model, even though it's still more expensive than what it actually is, it will appear as a bargain comparatively to the first one, and therefore the strategically placed anchor, so this is your anchor, your strategically placed anchor could skew your choice into overspending. So how do we overcome this bias? Number one is firstly to acknowledge the anchor. That's the first thing. We become biased without realizing it more than often. So knowing that you are exposed to an anchor that might influence your judgment will lead you to approach each negotiation with caution. So here and also here. Number two is a little bit of an obvious one, but research. We should increase our knowledge through research. By doing that, we can anchor to the information we research on a subject matter that is more informed, relevant, and accurate. The third point is delay. So this is delay the decision where possible. It's very rare that you have to make a snap decision or a very instantaneous decision. And so if and where possible, delay the decision. And in doing so, don't just sort of sit back and relax and say, I'll think about it in 2 weeks' time. Seek to add additional information. Maybe like if we're going back to this camera store example, look at different cameras in the entire shop before settling on the one you wish to buy. And then you will know that, oh, actually, when you compare this camera with another one, you might feel that, oh, I'm getting better value for money on my other camera. Fourth point, consult with experts. And by experts, I mean someone more knowledgeable in the subject than you are. This is similar to sort of doing research, point number 2, but it's more about getting a different perspective. It's not only about getting information, it's more about thinking about, it's more about getting information that you haven't thought about, getting the thoughts and perspective of someone else, because we may have not thought about something or indeed everything. And finally, in an open negotiation, you can use this bias to your advantage by making the first offer. So that sets the anchor with which then you can haggle. That sets the baseline with which you can haggle further. And these are some of the ways you can overcome anchoring bias. Anchoring bias affects our creativity, our accuracy, and efficiency in various situations. And so by overcoming this bias, we can strive for better and more positive outcomes in all of those areas. And that's it for this video. This is anchoring bias. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one with another cognitive bias in this mini-series. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.